Hey, and welcome back to Talk Better Worlds. I'm SirFelixTheCat, and this is The Blender. Have you ever just wondered exactly what it means for something to be the best video game or the best movie, just the best? In sports, I mean, it's kind of obvious for sports. It's the one that does the most plays, most catches, most passes, whatever sport you're playing, score the most goals, best player. That one's kind of a given. But for a game, like a video game or a movie, it's really not based on how much the main character does. Like, oh, okay, so this main character defeats the most bad guys. Big whoop, really? I mean, Superman, he could do it too. John Wick takes out a bunch of bad guys. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily the best. They might be the best at what they do. That could be a thing, but for a video game, that doesn't make it the best game. A lot of JRPGs, you're basically just grinding for hours. You're killing thousands and thousands of enemies. Doesn't mean it's the best game, or else every Dragon Quest game would, in fact, be the best game of the year. So much grinding. Yeah, so I figured it would be a good time to just kind of make a list out of what makes something the best. So, the first one I want to talk about is graphics. Because, I mean, there's games out there that just put out these outstanding graphics. Look at Final Fantasy back in the day, especially when it went to like PS1 and stuff. Especially if you watch like its videos, you would see like it had just stellar graphics. Like they did a fantastic job. Square Enix was at the top of their game. That's what they were kind of known for. Besides the games they made, they were known for being like a graphical powerhouse company. And doesn't necessarily mean like those are the best games. I mean, Final Fantasy 13, beautiful game. Absolutely think it's gorgeous. And it's probably one of the weaker Final Fantasy games. You may like it. That's cool. I was kind of into it. I kind of forced myself to play deep into it. And I, in the end, just came off not caring when I just walked away from it. So, a game can be the most graphically enhanced. It could be, something that only runs on the most top tier of PCs. But does that really make it the best game? I mean, not really. Graphics, for the most part, don't mean all too much in the greater score. Like, I'd say it maybe gets about 10%. Like, that's how much it matters. So there are games out there that basically don't do much with graphics. Like, they will have some, but they're mostly text-based adventures. Look at Citizen Sleeper. This is a very, very pretty game. Like, the design, the art they do have is really good. But graphics are not the focus of the game. And this game is fantastic. Like, I give this one a solid, probably about an 8 for a text-based adventure. That's pretty high praise. It's a really good game. Second one's coming out soon. That's something that everybody should be looking forward to. If you haven't played the first one yet, definitely go check it out. But overall, yeah, graphics, 10% of the score. So no, it's not the most important thing in it. It means something, but not terribly much. And then the second one up is probably a big... I'd say a bulk of the score. However, it's not the most important thing to some people, and that is story. A game should have a good story. Now, you can look at games like Fortnite. And I'm not saying Fortnite has no story, because there is a little bit kinda involved in that game. But most players who are playing it don't care. They're just there to go out there, shoot people, and be like, hey, I'm the best. And that's fine. There's the Battlefield games, when you're playing the online mode. A lot of times it's just go out there and defeat each other. And that's fine. There's no story to that. There's a story to the main game, like the single player story. But that's it. There's nothing for the multiplayer. And that's fine. Games can be like that. You can have a crazy story. Like, there's crazy games like Terrorbane on the Switch, and I think it's on PC and other consoles. But Terrorbane, it's a completely nonsensical story, and that's fine, because it works for the world it's in. It's set in a video game where the dev is trash and basically just trying to kill you, and you're just finding new ways to die and survive and explore this game that's constantly changing as you make decisions. But that is, in itself, a good story. Story is going to be something that actually pulls in a good chunk of players. Like there's especially people who like RPGs. They like stories. They're going to want a good story set up there, something they can create a story like Terrorbane. Lightly. It's all one story, but you can make slight decisions. And yeah, those decisions do play into the story. Everything there needs to be gripping. It needs to be entertaining. It can have its like lulls and like low points, but it needs to have something there to keep people entertained. It needs to be well written, which is kind of another thing, which is going to kind of take us into the third point, and that would be dialogue. Especially today, people are more focused on dialogue. You don't have many people who are praising the MCU movies for their dialogue because that's what everything's kind of become. All movies kind of want to be like that. All video games kind of want to be tropey like that. Everybody's just a quip a minute. And that gets really, really tiring. And at the same time, it's been a staple in video games for quite a while. And there's characters it works with, like Deadpool. It works with him. Like in the newest Deadpool movie, I think we talked about that in the podcast when we reviewed the movie. Deadpool versus Wolverine. It is very tropey and it kind of has that writing, but it makes sense for the characters. It's Deadpool. That's what he does. But you can't just have every character have that same kind of mentality where I'm just going to be the sarcastic cool guy all the time. And everybody does that. It'll push everyone away. Just literally everyone will get pushed away from it. Look at, what's the game? Dragon Age. The Veilguard. It had those writing issues. Everybody is MCU-ish, and it's a big turnoff. Dialogue needs to be well written. It needs to be thought out. It needs to be deep, emotional, affect the world. It just needs to be good. Or, even if you go with a silent protagonist, you need to have everybody else have good dialogue. That's why Dragon Quest works. You're a silent protagonist, but everyone talks around you and makes sense, and they'll talk to you, and they let you make your own reaction in your head, but your guy just like shakes his head and smiles or something like that. And it's fine. That is good writing. That is good writing for your character too, because they want you to have that in your head of like, hey, you are the hero. But yeah, good writing is necessary. Now, the last one is kind of the most obvious. Gameplay. Gameplay is going to be king. You can have the most beautiful game, but if it has bad gameplay, it's not going to do well. You can have the most beautiful, well-written story, great dialogue, but if that gameplay is trash, no one's going to be there to appreciate it. It's got to be well-rounded. It kind of goes with the level's design as well. If it's super broken up and choppy and you're getting stalled every 20 seconds, think if a platformer was made by like Kojima or something like that. So you're going to go do this level and you're going to stop for like 20 minutes to watch a video. You literally just like jumped up onto the first bricks and you got your power mushroom and now you're sitting through a video for 20 minutes and then you're going to go on and do like 12 more steps, maybe another jump, and then another video or some nonsense going on. It's going to turn people away. Sadly, a game that did that this year would have been Mario and Luigi Brothership. And at the beginning, yeah, it does stop you constantly. It's telling you what to do. It's trying to make sure you understand the rules. And I got past it. I understood that was there like, hey, because we're not going to hold your hand later and you're going to have some deaths. I get it. It made sense. A lot of people didn't like it because of that. And that's sad. It was a well-done game, but they held themselves back by how stuttery the beginning of the game was. Or staggered, I guess you would say. Because you would start doing something, take a few steps, maybe fight an enemy or just grab a coin, and then it's a little cutscene. And it does that kind of later on too. You first get to an island, little cutscene, you walk up, talk to somebody, and it's a little cutscene. But they're like 30 seconds long. It's not no 20-minute Kojima movie going on. And it still hurts. It hurts the game. However, that one ended up being a good game. Not all games do that, sadly. And yeah, they're disappointments. They're just sad disappointments. Turn people away, especially those who don't want to read. I don't know why people who don't want to read play RPGs or story-based games. Kind of makes no sense to me. But, you know, do you. Have fun. But yeah, that's a big chunk of it. Gameplay, probably, and level design, I'm going to throw them in together. They kind of go hand in hand. You can't have good gameplay with a bad level design, or else it's just not going to work out too well. But yeah, that takes up about, I'd say, 60% of the score. That's a huge chunk. And again, graphics, maybe 10, 15. 10 is probably max as well. And that's kind of where we stand. There's no one thing that makes a game good. It's all these things, plus the ones I didn't mention, like music, which has its role. I could go into that in a different conversation, because there's soundtrack music, and that's like licensed music and whatnot, like think of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Then you have game music, which I'm going to say is like Dragon Quest, Mario, stuff like that. And then there's just atmospheric music games where there's really nothing. You might get like a piano key here and there, but more or less it's just the silence of space or wherever you're at. That has its role too. I mean, I wouldn't want like a Tony Hawk soundtrack playing in the middle of a Silent Hill game. Just to me, that doesn't make much sense. So you kind of want that atmospheric sound. But yeah, so you take all those together and that makes a good game. Now, that'll make the best game if you have everything perfect. But let's look at the Game Awards, and what do? We break down certain things, and it doesn't make much sense to me. And I enjoyed the Game Awards. They were wonderful this year. Jeff Keighley did a fantastic job. Like, kudos to him. It was a really good show. But the categories that we have best, like, art design. Okay, that's a good thing. You have, like, best level design. Okay. And then you have best story. How is the game of the year not going to be in each of those categories and win those categories? And yeah, Astrobot did kind of clean up. They did very well. And I'm not talking about how Astrobot's a bad game. Like, not at all. It's not where I'm coming from. But every year, it should be the same game winning all those categories plus game of the year. That's what makes it the best game. The game of the year. And it just baffles me how we have all these extra categories. And yeah, I don't understand you want to praise the artist, the people who made these aspects, like the writer of this one and all that. Definitely get that. And they deserve the recognition. They did a fantastic job. But shouldn't they all be the same thing? Or am I just like overthinking this? I don't know. To me, it feels weird. And it's been bothering me for weeks ever since I watched the Game Awards. Just why is it this way? But yeah, that's basically what I had for you. Kind of just wanted to see what your thoughts are on that. So we're quickly approaching 200 subs for the year, which is fantastic. It's been like just shy of 8 months or something like that we've been a channel. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. Also, if you have anything you want us to talk about, just leave it in a comment. We'll get to it at some point. We'll definitely take it to heart, do a little bit of research on it, and see what you got. Like, we had one the other day where someone was saying like, hey, do you have any games that are like X? And that's cool. We will definitely get to doing a video on that. It'll be fantastic. And yeah, just thank you guys for watching, and let us know how you feel, what's up, what you want us to talk about, and until next time, you take care. Hey, thanks for watching.
Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike it if you didn't.
Let us know what you think about the channel.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Tell your mom.